So I'm looking at this Jaylen Brown interview from last night. I was watching it, and look, he won MVP, well deserved. I thought Drew Holiday probably should have got it, but they gave it to JB. And look, it's kind of noted like that you got like a one A situation. When you look at on TV, you see who gets all the endorsements, and it's always when it comes to the Celtics the last few years, it's Tatum, right? Tatum gets all the commercials. He gets the Gatorade commercials, the Subway commercials. I think he even got a chips commercial with Ruffles. He gets he gets the endorsement. So it comes across like he's the 1A on the team. But if you ask most fans who watch them, they'll tell you he's more skilled, he's got more talent, but most nights and a lot of nights, Jaylen Brown looks like the better player. I mean, he had 40 points in game two after having a bad game one and being pissed off about not being all NBA. And I think Jason Tatum had like 4 points in the first half of game three. Like, no other superstar gets away with that, but Tatum does. And Brown, I thought initially he was going in business for himself because he was talking about how frustrated he is and how he doesn't get a lot of attention. He doesn't really get a lot of endorsements. And I'm thinking, well, damn, you just got the biggest contract in NBA history. Like, you still want all these personal accolades. You're going to the finals. And this is what he said. But then after what Stephen A said later, which I played, I got full context of it and I understood it. But this is what Brown was saying last night when they were asking him how did he feel about winning MVP.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I don't never win shit. So I was just happy that we won. I give credit to Indiana. They played us tough. I know like people think that Indiana wasn't a good team or whatever the case may be. I mean, I thought they were as tough as anybody we played all season.
You see it. You could tell he's frustrated. As good as he is, he knows. And like I said, and if there's fans like myself who think Brown is arguably better, you got to think he thinks he is, right? I mean, he's got to think he's better than Tatum, and he doesn't get the accolades that Tatum gets, despite having that supermax. Brown is different. He's not safe. He speaks up. He speaks. He's always been about social justice. It's funny. The Mavs and the Celtics could face off. He's actually one of the only players that publicly endorsed Kyrie Irving when Kyrie had all that going on with the Jews and the mandate. He was backing up Kyrie. When Ice Cube, a black man who helped launch a exhibition basketball league, the Big Three, was trying to get some recognition. Jaylen Brown was the only NBA player currently that stood next to Ice Cube, and he played in the game. Had like 9 points or whatever, but it was just participation. That type of stuff is good for the overall game of basketball. Nobody else was doing that. And you had people saying, well, he shouldn't do that. He could get hurt. The Celtics just paid him all that money. Jaylen Brown does not care. Jaylen Brown does what he wants. You know what I mean? Jaylen Brown is a real one. He can't be controlled. And the reason why they'll give Tatum and these other guys the endorsements and things like that is because of the way Jaylen Brown carries himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's not your typical dumb jock. I mean, he went to USC Berkeley, studied science and all of that. Most kids who got that type of skill set, that's 18 coming out of high school, he's from Atlanta. He could have easily stayed down south and went to one of these basketball-driven academies like North Carolina, UNC, or he could have went to Duke. He could have went to Kentucky. He could have went to Tennessee. He went to a brainiac school because let's be honest, certain schools pride more academics than sports and certain other schools the opposite. He's different. He's not the typical dumb jock. And then Stephen A, for some reason, I don't know why he felt the need to put it out there. They were discussing if Jaylen Brown being underrated, him and Perkins, and I don't know, maybe he thought this was a good idea, a good thing to say, but it was real messy. And this is his explanation for why he thinks Jaylen Brown doesn't get endorsements.
Brown, it's not so much that he's underrated. It's that he's just not liked because of his, quote, I am better than you attitude. He knows it. It's the same reason he is not as marketable as he should be. That's what an NBA source just sent me. I don't know that to be.
That's what an NBA source just sent me. Now, he's making it seem like he's the big deal, like somebody's texting him this. Well, he got that information from somebody probably way before that show, but he's trying to read it off as he's going on. Why was that necessary to say? We all know why they don't F with Jaylen Brown. It ain't because he has a I'm better than you attitude. If anybody, maybe that's Jason Tatum saying that. Maybe he's the source. And speaking of that, Jaylen Brown added Stephen A. and was like, yo, who's the source? Who is this person that's telling you this? Because obviously it don't really add up. Whit Grossbeck and the Celtics awarded him the biggest contract in league history. But it does say something when a guy is the highest paid in his sport and has no endorsement deals. That's kind of odd. You look at Pat Mahomes in the NFL, he's one of the top paid quarterbacks, $500 million deal. He's got like 5 commercials on TV. State Farm, Head and Shoulders, everything. Tatum doesn't really get that. And a lot of it is because Tatum, he's pro-black. He's from Atlanta. He's not no dumb jock you could just control like a robot. Honestly, I thought he should have. And look, he doesn't have a big agent either. He doesn't have Rich Paul or nobody behind him. I don't think he really travels in circles with a lot of these other NBA players like that either. I thought he could have went to the Hawks last year. He was a free agent. I think ultimately, if the Celtics don't win the championship, he'll probably go somewhere else where he could be his own man, because he knows he can be just as good, if not better than Tatum. I've always said Tatum is like a great value KD. He's KD without the killer instinct. But I think Brown could be a star, could be the one guy on the team. He could, but as long as he's with Tatum, he's never gonna get that respect that he's looking for, that he's yearning for, because you could tell it still bothers him, even though he's making he signed like a $300-some million contract. It's more than money to him. It's about respect, and I can respect that. But yeah, Stephen A. once again, just unnecessary stuff. Stephen A. even tried to validate why he called the league office about the Westbrook thing. Oh, I was doing my job. We had to talk about this on the Countdown show. I'm like, bro, Barkley and them do the same shit you do. They not calling up Adam Silver in the office to get information. This is like messy TMZ sports type of stuff. And this is supposed to be one of the most respected journalists / TV anchors in the sports world. Like, this is sleazeballs type of stuff. And if you're going to say something like that, tell a source. I'm sure he'll talk about it. He'll rattle it off on his podcast, but tell a source. Who told you this? Was it a player in that locker room who's saying he's not liked? Was it a coach? Who is it? He comes across very liked and respected. A lot of those players looked like they were happy for Jaylen Brown to me. Tatum was in the background kind of cheesing, but he was like, But yeah, Jaylen Brown is real, man. I always respected JB, and like I say, I think he should be on another team where he could be the true lead dog. But yeah, it does say something when the highest paid player in the sport, he's not really known as a top 5 player. But at the same time, for him not to have any endorsements, and you got players you can argue are not as good that's out here, doing their thing. But Brown, like, people just don't want to stand next to him. He was with Kanye, right? He was with Donda Sports for a while. He stood next to Kanye when Kanye had all of that stuff going on with Adidas and the Jews. He didn't care. Brown was right there. So I say Jaylen Brown flows at his own, he does his own thing. That's why they stay away from him. It ain't because he thinks he's better than everybody. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hit the like button for the algorithm. Hit the bell for notifications. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm out.